Hey everyone, before we begin, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe for more stories that will touch your heart and make you believe in miracles. Now, let's dive into one of the most emotional true stories you'll ever hear. It was supposed to be a perfect wedding. The guests were dressed in bright summer colors, music floated through the air, and the bride, Emily, stood at the altar glowing with joy. She'd been waiting for this day her whole life. Everything was flawless, until a little boy, no older than 7, stumbled through the back doors of the church holding a newborn baby wrapped in a blanket. The chatter stopped. The music faded. All eyes turned toward him. His face was pale, his small hands shaking as he clutched the baby close. "Please," he said, his voice trembling. "I need to find Emily Parker." The bride froze. That was her name. And in that moment, her world, and everyone else's, was about to change forever. Emily had always been the strong one. Growing up in a small town, she raised her little sister alone after their parents passed away. Life hadn't been easy, but she worked hard, became a nurse, and finally found love with a kind man named Ryan. Their wedding was the happy ending she thought she deserved. So when that little boy walked down the aisle toward her, everyone thought it was some mistake, maybe a lost child from a nearby house. But the way he said her name, there was something in his voice. Something broken. Something desperate. The priest stepped forward, ready to help, but the boy shook his head. "No," he said. "Please. I have to tell her something. It's about my mom." Emily gently placed her bouquet down and knelt in front of him. "Sweetheart, what's your name?" she asked softly. He swallowed hard. "I'm Tommy," he whispered. "My mom said if something happened to her, should find Emily Parker. She said you would know what to do." The crowd murmured. Ryan looked confused. Emily's hands trembled. "Your mom?" she said. "Who's your mom, Tommy?" Tommy's lips quivered. Her name was Sarah. Emily gasped, her eyes filling instantly with tears. Sarah, her best friend from college. The one who had disappeared years ago without saying goodbye. The one who had been like a sister to her. Everyone in the room felt the air change. Tommy took a step closer and opened the blanket. Inside, the baby girl blinked up at the lights, tiny and perfect. "She said this is my baby sister," he whispered. "And she said she belongs with you now." Emily's breath caught. The world tilted. She looked from the boy to the baby, then back to Ryan, who stood frozen. What do you mean, Tommy?" "Where's your mom?" she asked, barely holding her voice steady. Tommy's eyes filled with tears. She's gone," he said, voice breaking. "She got really sick. Before she went to heaven, she told me that if I ever needed help, I should find you. She said you're the only person who ever kept a promise to her." Emily fell to her knees right there on the church floor, tears spilling down her cheeks. The baby stirred and whimpered softly. Ryan came forward, resting a hand on Emily's shoulder, but she barely noticed. For a long time, no one spoke. Guests wiped their eyes. Even the priest looked lost for words. Finally, Emily reached out and pulled Tommy into her arms. "You did so good, sweetheart," she whispered through tears. "You're safe now. Both of you." Hours later, the wedding reception had turned into something entirely different. The music was gone, replaced by quiet conversations and tearful faces. Emily sat in a small room at the back of the church, holding the baby, Sarah's baby, as Tommy sat beside her, clutching a glass of juice with both hands. "Your mom and I were best friends," Emily said softly. "She was brave, and funny, and she loved you more than anything in the world. I'm so sorry she couldn't stay." Tommy looked up, eyes red. "She said you would understand," he whispered. "That you'd keep us safe." Emily nodded slowly. She looked over at Ryan, who stood in the doorway watching them. Their wedding day, the start of their new life, had taken a turn no one could have imagined. But as she looked into Tommy's eyes, and then down at the tiny baby in her arms, something inside her shifted. She turned to Ryan. "We can't send them away," she said quietly. "This is where they belong." Ryan hesitated, emotions swirling across his face, shock, confusion, fear, but then he nodded. "You're right," he said. "If Sarah trusted you, then we will too." And just like that, the wedding became something far more meaningful than anyone expected. It wasn't just the beginning of a marriage, it was the birth of a new family. Weeks later, the town couldn't stop talking about what had happened. Some said it was fate. Others said it was divine timing. But for Emily, it was simple. Sarah's final gift wasn't just her children, it was a reminder of what love really meant. Not just the romantic kind, but the selfless, eternal kind that lives on in the people we leave behind. Every night, before tucking Tommy into bed, Emily would whisper, "Your mom loved you more than anything. And she's still with you, always." And every time the baby cried in the night, Emily would hold her close and smile through her tears. Because in that moment, she knew, life doesn't always go as planned, but sometimes, the most unexpected moments bring the greatest blessings. Years later, at Tommy's high school graduation, Emily sat in the front row, tears of pride in her eyes. The boy who once walked into her wedding lost and broken now stood tall and smiling, a young man who had found a home, a family, and a future. When Tommy took the microphone to give his speech, he looked straight at her. "I walked into her life on the happiest day of hers," he said, voice trembling. "And somehow, she made it the happiest day of mine too. She didn't just save me. She gave me a family. And for that, I'll spend my life trying to make her proud." The crowd rose to their feet, clapping through tears. Emily wiped her eyes, whispering under her breath, "Your mom would be so proud." And in that quiet, beautiful moment, she felt something, like a warm breeze, a whisper from heaven, as if Sarah herself was there, smiling. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe for more real stories that remind us, sometimes, love doesn't wait for an invitation. It just walks in when we least expect it.